to my course 527, Computational Biology. So at this moment, I know that some of you might be thinking that the name of this discipline or the title of the course, Computational Biology, consists of seemingly completely unrelated words, computation and biology. And as we know, computer science and biology seem to have a very different set of goals and methodologies. How many of you agree with me? How many of you do not agree with me? So then what is this discipline named computational biology about? And then what are we going to learn in this class? So as we walk through the next couple of slides, I will try to convince you that biology is indeed an information science. And if we learn a little bit about biology, we will easily realize that this is really true. And this field is heavily relies on advances in information technology and computing technology, and we'll be learning some of these techniques in the class. So, well, just in case, for those of you who think that this course requires a lot of knowledge in biology, or at least a certain level of knowledge in biology, raise your hand. I just want to say that this is not true. No biological knowledge is required. And pretty much what I will be showing in the next couple of slides is pretty much everything they have to know to learn the materials for the whole quarter. So here we go. So any living organism like us consists of millions of cells, a lot of cells. And each cell contains genetic material called DNA. DNA is basically a very long, 3 billion long string of A's, C's, G's, and T's. And its main role is to act as the brain of the cell by telling the cell how to properly grow and work. And a little bit more about DNA. And each individual has a slightly different version of the DNA sequence. And that's one of the reasons that individuals are so different in many biological traits, such as appearance, for example, of course, and susceptibility to various diseases. And each species also has a unique DNA sequence. Well, similar close species, human and chimp, have very similar, surprisingly similar DNA sequences. And these distant species, like human and yeast, still similar, but have very different set of DNA sequences. And understanding is which parts are similar, which parts are different, is one of the most important questions in biology. And then how exactly does the DNA give an instruction to the cell and tells the cell how to perform various tasks in the cell? So this slide contains most of the knowledge that's required, and biological knowledge that's required for this course. It's very simple. You guys are very smart. I'm pretty sure this is simple. So like I said, each cell has a genetic material called DNA, and it's a long sequence of A, C, G, T. And there are regions called genes, very important regions. And in human, there are 20,000 of those. So what is so special about genes compared with the rest of the regions in the DNA? It can produce some different kind of molecule called RNA. So RNA, as you can see, has exactly the same sequence as a DNA in the gene region. And the RNA is translated into protein here. And proteins are basic, the most basic functional unit in any biological processes in a cell. And this process is called gene expression, genes producing proteins. And expression of genes is not independent to each other. And this is a really cool thing. This is one of the reasons that we need special computational technique. So some kind of protein can regulate other genes' expression by reducing their expression or repressing the expression. And a different kind of proteins can degrade other genes' RNA. So as you can see, genes regulate each other's expression and activity, forming a quite complex web of network. It is called the gene interaction mesh. And you can think of this as some kind of a social network of genes. And understanding the social network of genes, I mean, which genes are which genes' friends, is one of the most important problems in biology. So now, a cell's biological state can now be described by millions of numbers. For the past 10 years, the field of biology has been it's very different from 10 years ago when we depended on the measurement, what we see under the microscope or a few measurements. We can now measure a lot of things in these players in this process. So for instance, from one cell, from one individual, we can retrieve the DNA sequence information. So it's basically that there are over 1 million sites that are known to differ individuals. Then we can measure which letter individual has, which set of letters, ABCD letters each individual has. And we can easily measure the RNA levels of 20,000 genes. So for instance, the first gene has 1 copy of RNA, second gene has 2 copies, third gene has 0 copy, and so on. So that makes 20,000 numbers. And protein levels of 20,000 genes. So that runs us easily over 1 million numbers. So from just one cell, you can get 1 million numbers, and then gathering many cells and from many individuals who have very different properties, how many numbers would you get? So it's not too much to say that modern biology is really about mining very large and complex data like this to answer important questions in biology, such as which parts in the DNA sequence determine susceptibility to various diseases, such as Alzheimer's disease, and how the social network of genes are different between cancer and normal cell, and how the DNA sequences are different between different species. And advanced machine learning and data mining techniques play a key role in this line of research. And this is what we are going to be learning in this class. So here is how the course is organized. So in the very first lecture, we are going to discuss basics in both biology and machine learning. We are going to discuss what DNA is, RNA, protein, which we already covered, and we will study a little more details about them. And the basics of machine learning techniques too. In the next 4 or 5 sessions, we will talk about how to reconstruct these social networks of genes, who is whose friends, from large and complex data using machine learning techniques. And then we are going to discuss various machine learning techniques to answer what genetic factors make us so different in terms of main biological traits. And then we are going to learn how to compare very long multiple DNA sequences from multiple species. And we'll also learn various computational techniques that can transform the field, change the way we practice medicine. So, and then in each lecture, we will touch very important machine learning concepts, such as clustering, regression, classification, feature selection, and so on. And then we are going to learn about more advanced machine learning tools, such as probabilistic models, Bayesian network, Gaussian graphical models, and so on. So it's also that you don't have to know about what Bayesian network is. You're going to cover that in class. So here's some of the logistics of the course. So by the way, I didn't put this, but I did. Yeah. So we will meet twice per week, Monday and Wednesday, from 12 to 1 in room 403 in this building. And then there are 3 sets of requirements. First is 4 homework assignments and final project that accounts for 50% of the final grade. And active participation is required, asking questions, initiating interesting discussions, and so on. And there are largely just one set of prerequisites, which is undergrad level machine learning or statistics course. And if you are not sure whether you to all these prerequisites, just come to, schedule a meeting with me, and then we will discuss whether to have or not. And again, no background in biology is required. And programming experience will definitely help, because final project is so important. So are you all with me? Any questions so far? Okay, so before I wrap up the talk, again, this I just want you to think that what experiments. Understanding how DNA sequence determines important traits such as diseases, and predicting your own disease susceptibilities based on your biological information. Again, in modern biology, biological information means millions of numbers. Okay? And predicting sudden changes in the condition of a patient at ICU, intensive care unit, to more effectively save their lives, and so on. And 527 will provide you with all the basic concepts and techniques in machine learning and statistics that can help you realize these goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sue. Next, we're going to